Hello, everybody. My name is Baldy. Welcome to Reactions with Baldy. Today we are going to watch and react to Jake Tapper and JD Vance spar over John Kelly. Unfortunately, I recorded this earlier and I forgot to put my face cam on top. That's a me problem and not a you problem. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, please, guys, please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you like it. It really helps my channel and I really appreciate it. And comment down below. Once again, here we go.
Thank you. So let me ask you, obviously, Trump's former chief of staff, General John Kelly, was alarmed, he says, by what he heard when Trump said he wanted to use the National Guard or the Pentagon to go after the enemy within, Americans with whom he disagrees, including the Pelosi's, Adam Schiff. And then he gave an interview. He said that Trump, quote, certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, that he is, quote, certainly an authoritarian, admires people who are dictators. You've called him a disgruntled former employee. But why shouldn't Americans out there listen to somebody who worked closely with Trump, worked with him longer than you've worked with him, retired four-star Marine general, served his country honorably, who is conservative, who says he agrees with Trump on most policies, but is worried about this aspect of Trump?
So let me say two things in response. So first of all, a lot of what John Kelly, pretty much all of what John Kelly accuses Donald Trump of saying, there were other people in the room, Mike Pence's former chief of staff, for example, who've explicitly said Donald Trump never said those things, right? So one, on
Mike
the specific
Pence, the guy
comments,
who's not going to support Trump because
Mike Pence's former chief of staff said that Donald Trump didn't say those things, right? So that's number one. Number two, I actually think there's an interesting conversation here to have, Jake, which is why does John Kelly not support Donald Trump? It's about policy. It's actually not about personality.
He says he agrees with Trump on most policy.
No.
He agrees with Trump on most policy. He disagrees with Trump on how Trump views his role and his and the fascism and the authoritarianism.
I don't buy that, Jake. I don't buy that, because if you actually look at John Kelly, at folks like Liz Cheney, the fundamental disagreement they have with Donald Trump is, even though they say that they're conservative in the sense that they want America to get involved in a ton of ridiculous military conflicts. They want America to police the world, and Donald Trump wasn't.
John Kelly lost a son in Afghanistan. Why are you saying that he, like, I've never heard John Kelly say whether he supports of Iraq or Afghanistan.
And I honor his son's sacrifice, and I honor his family's sacrifice. That doesn't mean he's not wrong about policy.
What specifically are you talking about? What has he said that
is your argument that a person who lost a son in Afghanistan can't be wrong about public policy?
I'm asking
then
you.
Why bring that up? Let's talk about public policy,
because you were
I've never criticized his service or his son's
I brought it up because you're acting as if he is pro-war, and I've never heard him say whether or not he supported the war in Afghanistan or the war in Iraq. He was a general carrying out orders.
Because I know John Kelly's worldview, and I know the people who have attacked Donald Trump the most vociferously on foreign policy. They'll say, well, he's a dictator, when what they really mean is they won't listen. Donald Trump wouldn't listen to the leadership of the military when they wanted him to start ridiculous conflicts. That is a consistent theme. And I think that there's a big thing going on in American politics. It's a very interesting theme in American foreign policy, where a lot of former members of the Pentagon bureaucracy, a lot of old neoconservatives, they have a fundamental difference with Donald Trump on the question of peace and war. I believe Donald Trump is the candidate of peace. I think the record supports that. But the reason these guys go after him so vociferously, I don't think that it's about his personality, Jake. I think that it's about they don't like that Donald Trump said no when a lot of them wanted to start a ridiculous war.
Yeah. Well, you're ascribing worldviews, I think, based on gut. I can't really tell where you're coming from on it. There's no evidence.
Based on people that I've talked to in the Trump administration,
John Bolton,
what John Kelly wanted to do, John Bolton, Liz Cheney, these people have a consistent
John Kelly was at the Department of Homeland Security, and then he was chief of staff. He was not weighing in. I don't even know what you're talking about. But let me ask you something about John Kelly specifically, because you said the other day, quote, I guarantee John Kelly talked to somebody on Kamala Harris's campaign beforehand, before he did this interview. Now, I've spoken with people in John Kelly's circle, and I've spoken with people in the Kamala Harris campaign. They say there's been no communication the entire time. So where did that come from?
Oh, I'm highly skeptical of that, Jake. You know the way that these attacks work. You know the way that these people are often vetted by a campaign
So you made it up.
before something goes out there. No,
No,
I
he
said
did
that the
not.
American
These people are just so bitter, and they just want so badly, so badly to catch Trump and Vance in some kind of made. I don't know. I'm already getting riled up. I gotta calm down. Moving on.
American media and the American Democratic Party apparatus works a certain way. If it comes out that John Kelly never even spoke with a person in the Kamala Harris
I'm telling you
orbit,
that.
then I'm happy. You're telling me that based on secondhand conversations with John Kelly. And it's interesting. We've now spent, Jake, 3 minutes talking about John Kelly. If it is true that he never spoke with anyone in Kamala Harris's orbit, I'm happy to apologize to John Kelly for misstating how he delivered this news to the Atlantic magazine. But let's talk about who did he deliver this news to? To Jeffrey Goldberg, a guy who lied the United States into the Iraq War, which led to
Yep.
the deaths of millions of innocent Arabs and
Yep.
thousands of innocent Americans. You
Yep.
don't go to that guy if you don't have a particular ideological motive. I think that's what's going on. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to say that I'm wrong.
I think it's interesting that you think that a magazine writer lied the American people into war.
Well, he encouraged it. He wrote stories that were dishonest.
He wrote a story about the gassing of the Kurds in I forget if it was the Atlantic or the New Yorker, but I'm actually referring to John Kelly talking to the New York Times.
He wrote stories, by the way, where he took what intelligence officials in the American Pentagon bureaucracy said and wrote it as the gospel truth. And this highlights the entire point that I'm making about Trump's foreign policy, is this is a guy who wants to use American troops sparingly. He wants peace through strength. It's why his foreign policy was so successful during his first term. It's all the same people who were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about the quagmire in Afghanistan. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about everything. And now they're coming after Donald Trump
Yep.
because he actually has a realistic and cautious foreign policy.
Exactly.
I'm talking about people who worked for Donald Trump in his first administration. That's
Sure.
what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not just John Kelly, but Mark Milley, who was the Trump-appointed chairman of the Joint Chiefs of
Who
Staff.
disobeyed Trump's direct orders on troop redeployments in Syria.
And I'm talking about the guy that had your job.
A massive violation of his constitutional oath, by the way.
I'm talking about the guy that had your job before Donald Trump's supportive crowd wanted to hang him, Vice President Mike Pence, who said, as you know, that Trump put himself before the Constitution. I'm talking about General Mattis, also Secretary of Defense in Trump's administration. I'm talking about Mark Esper, the Secretary of Defense, who told me that Trump does have fascistic tendencies. John Bolton, H.R.
Come on, I'm so tired, sick and tired of hearing this. Trump is a fascist, and Trump is compared to Hitler. Like, and we know who said that. We know who said that. Talking about you, Kamala. You use these fear tactics to try to get to other people so that they won't vote for Trump when we actually know the truth. It's so obviously just asinine and so bad. They know they're losing, but they put out she came out with a press conference just to lie to the people and say that Trump said that he was going to be a dictator on day one and said he was. Oh God, they're so bad. Democrats are just so bad.
Every single one.
Melissa Farrah Griffin.
Okay, Jake,
These are Trump
are you
administration
gonna listen
officials.
to every Trump administration official? You know, one reason why Kamala Harris doesn't have as many people criticizing her is because she doesn't fire people who fail. That's why we haven't had a
Exactly.
real audit of the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal, is because Kamala Harris protects failures in government.
Mhm.
Donald Trump fires them. And I'd much rather have the president who fires people who screw up. Now, Jake, no, this is an important
Yes,
point.
I would
Kamala
too.
Harris.
He did not fire Mike Pence.
Kamala Harris.
He did not
is
fire
the president.
Mark Milley.
Kamala Harris.
He did
is
not
the leader.
fire
You don't even know what
He
you're
fired a
saying.
lot of those people, Jake, and he
He
did because
did.
they weren't doing their job. But this is the thing, Jake. We've now spent
Yeah.
5 minutes
Yeah.
talking about people in Donald Trump's staff
Who think he's not fit for
who
office?
he fired,
Who
who
think
he
he's not
fired.
fit for office?
Well, they
Disgruntled
didn't think he was unfit for office
ex-employees.
until they had a falling out with him because he fired him. And
Yep.
we're not talking about the public policy.
Well,
Why
we're
can't we
actually
talk about how Americans
It's basically like if you were a kid and you got fired. No, better yet. It's like when you're a kid and your girlfriend breaks up with you. So then you, like a little kid, are disgruntled and you're angry. So you start talking crap about the girlfriend and on all this stuff is that it isn't true about her. But you do it anyway because you're mad and you're like a 10-year-old baby, you know? That's what it is like to me. All this crap that they're putting out about Trump and calling him a fascist and Hitler and all this, it's just so stupid. And anybody they could see the truth, sees right through the lies. And it's just so pathetic.
can't afford groceries.
we're
Jake.
we're
Can
actually
we talk
talking
about the fact that Americans can't afford the cost of housing?
actually
Can we
talking
talk about the fact that a lot of people out there in Erie, Pennsylvania, they're the ones who suffer and die when people like Mark Esper and Mark Milley don't obey the commander in
we're
chief's
talking
orders.
about Donald
Yep.
Trump and
Yeah,
what
we're
he
trying
said.
to.
Yes, and
Donald Trump says,
and you'd much rather talk about what Donald Trump allegedly said
Yeah.
than
What he
what
said
Donald
publicly.
Trump did in
talking
office.
about
What he
said
did in
publicly.
office, Jake,
What he said
is
publicly.
Show the receipts. If he said this publicly, if you are saying that Donald Trump said any of this crap, where are the receipts? Show the proof. Have something, some sort of proof that says and shows, well, he said this and he did that. Guess what? You don't have any receipts. You have no proof. It's lies. It's made up crap. You have never had receipts for this to back any of these claims up, and you never will, because it's all lies.
1.5%
He wants to use the
inflation.
military to go after the enemy within, which is the American people.
He did not say that, Jake.
The enemy
He
within?
said that he was going to send the military after the American people. Show me the quote where
He said he was
that.
going to.
Yeah,
He said the
show it.
the enemy
said
within.
no.
Don't say it. Show it.
Far left lunatics. He's talking
Like
about
the
people
Pelosi's
rioting
and Schiff.
He's talking about people rioting after the election. I
The
think that we should
Pelosi's were
send-
rioting after the election.
He said
Adam
you're,
Schiff
you're
was
using
rioting after
two
the
separate,
election?
You're using two separate phrases. He said about using the military that far left lunatics, people who riot in the wake of an election, people who burn down American cities in the summer of 2020, yes, we should have a federal law enforcement.
This is
I
what
agree.
he said to Joe Rogan on Friday. The enemy within that he wants the military to go after.
No, this is
The
the
enemy
thing.
within
You-
a
you
bigger
impute-
problem than
you
Kim
impute the
Jong-un.
second part.
But
We have
I hate it when these people try to put words in our mouths that was never said. Trump never said it. Vance never said it. Nobody's ever seen or heard any of this. And yet you just flap your gums and try to make it look like, oh, he said this and he said that. And it's so, again, with the lies. You have no receipts. You have no proof.
we have people that are really bad people that I really think want to make this country unsuccessful. That's who the enemy within.
And did he say that he wants to use the military against those people?
He said he
Here's
wants
the
to use the
game.
military to go after the enemy within.
Here's the game that you're playing. He said
I'm
that
not
he.
playing a
No.
game.
Can I answer the question, please? He said that he wanted to use the military to go after far left lunatics who are rioting, and he also called
didn't
them.
say.
He also called them the enemy within. He separately, in a totally different context, in a totally different conversation, said that Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff were threats to this country.
Were the enemy
He
within.
never
Were the
said-
enemy within. He said they were the enemy
So
within.
every time he uses the exact same phrase, we assume that he uses.
I don't
the
know. I don't
military?
throw around the term of enemy within to talk about using
You
the military.
are just now. Oh my God. We don't throw around that term when he was in, but you've been using it for the last 10 minutes. Oh God, you contradict yourself like crazy, dude.
against
You're a
going American
journalist and
people.
you're asking his vice president, but you won't let me answer the question. I'm
Yeah.
telling you that Donald Trump has said, and I agree with him, that we should use the U.S. military to
To go after Americans.
people who riot. who burned
got
down
him
our
trying to
cities.
put
This was what
words in
John
his
Kelly
mouth.
was.
National Guard.
This was what John Kelly was alarmed by: the idea of using the U.S. military to go after Americans. That's what he said.
Donald Trump never said Americans writ large. You keep on putting words in his mouth.
See?
And
Are they or are they not Americans?
Bingo.
far left people who commit acts of violence, who riot. And
Now
I
you're
don't
doing
care.
a very narrow definition of
I
what he
don't-
said, which is
I
not what
don't
he said.
care.
That's not what he said. But let me
How
ask you.
did you
Let me ask
know?
you the
He
bigger
did
point.
say that, Jake. He did. He said that he wanted to use the U.S. military. Let me
To
clarify.
go after far left lunatics, yes, and then he
go
also
after
added.
people who were rioting
he
and
asked-
looting.
and
he
added-
never said.
he added
he
Schiff,
never said.
And then he added the Pelosi's.
He never. He
and then
said
he added people that don't want the
that
country
Adam
to succeed.
Schiff, he said that Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi he used in a separate context in a separate conversation. And what you're doing is you're smashing two
Fox
totally
asked him
different
about
conversations.
Fox asked him about this last week, and he didn't take issue with it. He said the enemy within is the biggest
But
threat
did
to
he
this
say
go
country.
somebody within that he's going to use the military against Nancy Pelosi? Donald Trump offered Nancy Pelosi the National Guard on January the 6th, and according to private
Oh,
emails,
boy.
she rejected it.
So let's
Yes,
talk about things
he
that he
did.
wants to do that are feeding into this concern that people like John Kelly and General Mattis and General Milley have. He said on Friday, Special Counsel Jack Smith should get thrown out of the country. He's threatened to arrest election officials who cheated. We know that he believes a lot of people cheated that did not cheat. He
Yes,
wants
if
to
you
put.
violate the law, you should be arrested. Yes.
No one disagrees with that, but he's talking
Apparently,
about.
you do, based on the way
No,
you're asking
I'm
the
not.
question.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that he's accused people that didn't break the law of breaking the law when it comes to the election. And if you want to revisit that, I'm happy to. But Liz Cheney, he said, should be put before a war tribunal. None of that sounds fascist to you at all?
No. Commercial. Or ad, whatever you
No,
want
of
to call
course
it.
it doesn't. Of
Putting
course
Liz
it
Cheney
doesn't.
before a military tribunal?
First of all, I don't buy into the premise of what you're saying, Jake,
These are
because I
things
just
he said.
on things that I
are
know
things
that
he
he
said.
said, on things that I know that he said, you're
That gets
imputing
so
things,
mad.
you're taking words out of context, you're taking two
Yeah.
separate conversations
100%.
and pretending
No, I'm
that they
not.
were made at the exact
No,
same
I'm not.
time.
Yeah.
So I'm rejecting the premise
Yes, you
of your
are.
question.
Quit acting like a 10-year-old and listen. You're acting like, no, I'm not. Oh, I didn't. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You are. No, I'm not. No, you are.
And
Ah.
I frankly don't believe what you're saying about Donald Trump's words. If you'd like to put up a clip and actually put him in
Yeah,
context, I
show
think the
receipts,
American
man.
people would realize that Donald Trump is a hell of a lot more reasonable than the people like Liz Cheney who would like to lie us into war. Now, Jake, we also have to remember, step back a little bit. Well, ask yourself a basic question about network integrity. You guys talked about the Russia hoax nonstop.
The FBI was investigating it. The FBI was investigating it, and so we recovered them.
And so you took the words of unnamed FBI agents and put them on your network as if they were the gospel truth. You did it again and again. A viewer of your network would have believed that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin conspired in 2016.
Yeah.
No.
That was totally and preposterous.
Wait, like you're going to deny that? And just shake your no, that didn't happen. No, they wouldn't. No, yes, they would. You lied, and you try to this fear mongering and these lies, and you try to get people. It's so wrong, and it's so stupid. You do these lies, and this whole thing with Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin or whatever, and saying that they're in cahoots together. And oh no, it's a Russian conspiracy and all this. And no, it's never happened. You guys lie out of your teeth. I'm surprised you have any left. And then you sit there and you deny it to his face. Cowardice. Sorry.
No,
Well, that's
what you just said is
why.
Yeah,
false.
no.
We covered an FBI investigation. I don't know why you want to talk about the FBI
Because
investigation.
you
You
have
covered it in a way that gave credence to anonymous sources' accusations. You did it yourself. Your network
Yep.
did it, Jake. But again,
Yep.
can we talk about the issues that Americans care
I'm
most
talking about
about?
things that Donald Trump has said.
Yes.
If you have an
And
issue
Kamala
with whether or
Harris-
not he's talking about the economy enough, that's between you and your running mate. I'm talking about things he has said this week.
Every single rally that he does, he talks about how he wants to unleash American energy so we
He
can
does.
lower the cost of groceries. He talks about the fact that housing has become unaffordable. He talks about the wide open border, Jake.
Yep,
Kamala Harris
he
and her
does.
allies, it's interesting. Kamala Harris and her media allies, and I would put CNN in this category. You guys,
They wouldn't.
You guys seem to
I'll tell
care.
you that they wouldn't.
Well, they should watch your network more because you guys
10-year-old.
seem to care more about Donald Trump's past than the future of the American people. We're running this campaign on making the American dream.
I'm specifically
affordable.
asking about how Donald Trump is going to be president in the future should he win. And then we're being told
He's going to pursue economic policies that lower the cost of groceries and make life more.
He was already president once. I'm pretty sure that the way he's going to be president when, not if, when he gets elected this time around, this term, it's going to be pretty much the same, except he's going to fix all the crap that frickin' Biden and now Harris destroyed our country with. It's pretty much the proof's in pudding. It's already been done, and he's going to do it again. Vote for Trump, people. Vote for Trump and Vance. Come on.
More
Sorry.
affordable again. He talks about it every single day on the campaign trail, and so do I. What you're talking about is an anonymously sourced story, or one guy
nothing anonymously sourced,
or who
zero
one guy who is a disgruntled employee.
I told
where
you
five other
10
people, five
10
other
people
people pushed back against him and said that what he said was dishonest. So why don't we talk about the policy that's affecting American citizens and not what Donald Trump allegedly said, according to one guy who's pissed off because he got fired by Donald Trump?
I didn't bring up any of the things that he said. He said I didn't bring up.
Brought up John
Brought
Kelly.
up everything. Okay. I'll give you this. You didn't bring up all the things that he said because you have no proof of the things that you think that he said and that you want other people to believe that he said. You have no receipts, but you keep talking about it, and here we are.
And that I just described.
I brought
him
up John
perfectly.
Kelly's view of Donald Trump. I didn't bring up John Kelly talking about what Donald Trump said about Hitler's generals.
Yes, you
I didn't
did.
bring that up. I talked about John Kelly's view of Trump based on something Trump has been saying in the last week. So that's what I asked about.
So John Kelly makes accusations that are rejected by 5 people.
Again, you're talking
I
about
think that-
something I didn't bring up.
I think that maybe implicates his overall judgment. And I think the fact that he has a worldview that's so oppositional to peace and prosperity suggests that he's not an honest arbiter here. This is not a guy, John Kelly, going to brag to Jeffrey Goldberg, who is interested in the American truth or is interested in telling an honest account of Donald Trump. He's a guy with an axe to grind because Donald Trump fired him and disagreed with him on
Yes.
policy.
So
Right on the dot. He's just a disgruntled, angry ex-employee of Trump who can't stand that he was fired. So now he's talking crap about him and doing all of his fear-mongering and his lies, and he's just acting like a 10-year-old. That's the way I see it. That's what all these Democrats are doing. They're just flapping their gums. No receipts to show for it. They're just angry that he's winning. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So all those 10 people, including the former vice president, Mike Pence, all of these people have this horribly damaged worldview, and they're all just going after Donald Trump because they want to send people into war? That's really your argument?
Absolutely.
It's not like these are conservative.
Absolutely, that's my
These are
argument,
not
Jake.
conservative
All of
Republicans.
people,
These aren't
all
conservative
of these
Republicans
people,
who are
Jake.
concerned about Donald Trump.
All of
They're
these,
not. That's
all
not
of
right.
These, all of these people, Jake, they
Yeah,
came
you
into
might be
office
a
thinking that they
10-year-old.
could control Donald Trump. That when he said he wanted peace in the
Mike
world,
Pence thought he
that
could control Donald
yes,
Trump?
he did. And when he found out that
Really?
when he found out that he couldn't, they all turned on Donald Trump, and a lot of them got fired.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we're running, and we're trying to staff the government with people who are going to govern according to principles of peace and prosperity.
Let me ask you.
They're pissed off about it.
Let me ask you because we're being told that we're over.
Yeah. One more question because
Yeah.
you have to go to this
Yeah.
rally.
You are running to be vice president of the United States.
Of course.
And there is a 50-50 chance, maybe better, I don't know, that you're going to succeed. Are you running to be vice president of the United States, or are you running to be vice president of the red states? Because if you win, and there's a decent chance you will,
He's running
you're going to be vice president of
the United
China's cat
States.
ladies. You're going to be vice president of legal Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio. You're going to be their vice president too. Are you running to do that?
Jake, of course I'm running to be the vice president of all Americans. I'm running because I want people to be able to afford a good life in this country.
Sorry, but what a stupid question.
You know how I grew up. You know that I grew up in a family where things were often tough. I want, whether you're in a blue state or a red state, whether you're going to vote for Trump or you're going to vote for Harris, I want you to be able to have a good life in this country. But what's not going to happen with the broken leadership in Washington, D.C. Let me give you a statistic, Jake, because here is what the leadership of people like Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi and, yes, Mike Pence over 30 years in this country has led to. A person with a bachelor's degree lives 7 years longer than a person without a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of people who have gotten rich and powerful off of American decline. Some of them have had R's next to their name. Some of them have had D's next to their name. And the first person who I believe is really putting the interests of the American people first is Donald J. Trump. So, yes, we're going to be the president and the vice president for all people. The only way to do that is to reject the failed consensus.
All right.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you so much, Senator.
All right. Wow. I mean, obviously, you guys know I'm a Trump fan. And JD Vance is so articulate and just so well worded, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I mean, he is so good at not just answering questions, but backing it up with freaking facts and truth. And when I listen to him talk, when I watch him talk, and when I watch Trump talk, I just have so much hope for this country. Here I am talking like I'm not doing the State of the Union, but I do. I just feel so much hope and joy, not joy, but just it's good to see the people like JD Vance and Trump are out there. And anybody in their right minds would vote for him. But then there's people that vote for Kamala. And they're not in their right minds. They will not see the truth no matter how obvious it is put in front of them. They will just lie to us. And I mean, opportunity economy? She hasn't even explained what in the hell that is. Nobody knows because she doesn't even know. So obviously, vote for Trump, guys. I'm going to vote on November 5th. I have to do research because there is a lot on the ballot that I don't want to be tricked into with their miswordings and stuff, so I got to do that. But I will be voting, and obviously, Trump and Vance 2024. Come on, baby. Thank you guys for watching this. Please subscribe to my channel. I really, really appreciate it, and it really, really helps my channel, guys. Smash that like button. Don't watch CNN, because no. And comment down below. And with that being said, guys, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.